Good evening and welcome to our Committee of Adjustment meeting this Monday, December 16th, starting at 6 p.m. Can I get a mover and a second to open the meeting? Moved by Councillor Bougie, second by Councillor McDonnell, that we open the meeting at the call of the chair at 6 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Confirmation of agenda. Are there any changes or noted errors?
No, Chair.
Thank you. All those mover and a seconder for the agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, second by Councillor Jaworski, that we accept the agenda as presented. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Approval of previous minutes for the October 21st, 2024 meeting. Were there any errors or omissions? Okay, a mover and a seconder accept them as presented. Moved by Councillor Bougie, second by Councillor McDonnell, that they be accepted as presented. All those in favor? Carried. Getting into new business, A22-2024, Faubert, Somerset Acres, Inhabit Consulting and Design Incorporated. Mr. Irwin.
Thank you, Chair. I will start with some required wording under the Planning Act that this is a hearing under Section 44 of the Ontario Planning Act. Any person may attend this hearing and or make written or verbal representation either in support of or in opposition to the proposed minor variance. If a person, the applicant or public body, does not make oral or written submissions at this hearing before the minor variance is decided upon, their comments will not be considered by the Committee of Adjustment. Only the applicant, the municipality, and the Minister of Municipal Affairs or certain public bodies may appeal the decision of the minor variance of the Committee of Adjustment to the Ontario Land Tribunal, also known as the OLT, within 20 days of the decision. Note that the committee members have reviewed the application along with any written submissions received in support or in opposition prior to this hearing, and in addition, we'll hear today oral submissions from any interested parties. For A2224, the subject property is legally described as Part of Lot 6, Concession 1 Front in the geographic township of Charlottenburg, now in the township of South Glengarry, County of Glengarry, and is located at 19564 County Road 2. It's also known as 6 Somerset Acres Road, and the entire property is approximately 32.39 acres in area, containing multiple dwellings, all under one ownership. So you can see here highlighting the entire property. Pretty much all of the dwellings are down at the south end of that along the water, all access through Somerset Acres Road. The owner is proposing to reconstruct the existing single detached dwelling on a similar but expanded footprint to the existing dwelling, and is requesting relief from zoning bylaw 3809 as part 3.397C and 3.3912 to reduce the required 30-meter setback from the watercourse and PSW respectively to 9.45 meters to the southeast corner of the proposed dwelling and 11.58 meters to the proposed deck along the east side of the proposed dwelling, including the associated stairs. So you can see here the original footprint of what's existing, as well as a dash line representing the proposed expansion of the main building. Here you can see the new footprint proposed, as well as a cantilevered deck on the south side and a new deck on the east side. And here they are kind of side by side to give a better visual. These are some site photos taken. There's a key map in the bottom right just to show where the photos were taken from and in which direction, just as it's a pretty large property and kind of tricky to navigate from just one image at a time. But this was taken from County Road 2 when the public notice sign was put up. This is the subject dwelling that's supposed to be reconstructed. This would be from the water side. And the property is designated rural district in the SCNG County Official Plan and is zoned limited service residential in the floodplain holding in the township zoning bylaw. And it's the opinion of the general manager of planning that the proposed variance is consistent with both the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. Here's a zoning map showing the primarily limited service residential zoning in the middle, with some floodplain holding down on the south end. It's pretty limited. Some rural zoning in gray to the east and north, as well as open space zoning to the west there, representing the campground. The application was circulated to the Conservation Authority, who's provided the following comments that basically that they don't object to the proposal, the new dwelling and subject to certain conditions. The new dwelling and deck area with stairs is located outside of the map floodplain and associated hazard area as per the plan provided. Based on info provided by the applicant and report from St. Lawrence Testing, adequate documentation has been provided regarding the organic soils hazard through report number 24C213. The RSC does not object to minor variance at this time, provided the following conditions are included. basically that the RCA permit be paid for if it hasn't already. The applicant obtain an RCA permit for the new proposed dwelling and deck and stairs, and that the recommendations from that report from St. Lawrence testing are implemented. I guess to follow up with that, a lot of these will be addressed through building permits as well. So we can't issue a building permit until a conservation authority permit is issued, and we will require the soil bearing test as part of the building process. The application was also circulated to all abutting property owners within 60 meters and applicable municipal staff, and we've not received any written or verbal comments to date. And the minor variance application is being recommended to be approved by our planner, Joanne Haley. And I will pass back to you, Chair, for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from around the table? Councillor Jaworski?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McDonald. Mr. Irwin, would you mind just on one of the maps just pointing out which are the specific distances that are being proposed for relief, please?
Right. So on the this is probably the easiest one to use. So the stairs on the eastern deck are one measurement being used, as well as the southeast corner, I believe. Yeah, so southeast corner of the dwelling and the proposed deck. There is a cantilevered deck on the south side, but because it's cantilevered, we're measuring to the base of the building, not that portion. But the measurements would be the ones to those stairs on the east side and to the southeast corner of the building, not including the cantilevered deck.
Talk about at the bottom, so it's the same? Like there's no, is it 31 in both cases?
Oh, sorry. So the water's edge is on the south side. Because the expansion is going to the east, that new section is within that 30-meter setback that prohibits any development or site alteration. So that new portion is what we're varying to.
Okay.
If they were to remain on the same footprint, it wouldn't trigger a variance. But because they're expanding the footprint, that new development within the 30 meters of a watercourse and provincially significant wetland triggers a minor variance to reduce that required setback.
Oh, even though that new part is behind or further away?
The prohibition is for all development within 30 meters. It's not necessarily
Relative.
how close, and we don't have a established building line provision in there where we can follow along an existing one.
I just wanted to make sure I understood correctly. All right, thank you.
No problem.
All right, does the applicant have anything they'd like to add?
No, your question is great. That is in fact the case. We're not going any closer to the water. It's just because we're extending the building to the east. And so that is why.
All right, are there any questions or comments from the audience? All right. Councillor McTinnell?
I'll move to approve as presented, Mr. Mayor.
Got a mover, Councillor McTinnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. All those in favor as presented? Carried. There is just one caveat, Mr. Irwin.
So your minor variance has been approved. So we'll send out a notice of decision tomorrow, and you should receive that shortly. From today, there's a 20-day appeal period, and assuming we receive no appeals, we can move forward with any building permits once that expires. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will now move on to A24, 2024 Thompson. Mr. Irwin.
Thank you, Chair. So the subject property for A2424 is legally described as Lot 19 on Plan 134, being Part 3 of Reference Plan 14R3469 in the geographic township of Lancaster, now in the township of South Glengarry, in the county of Glengarry, located at 22034 168th Avenue, which is a private road. And the property is approximately 0.47 acres in area, highlighted in black here. The owner is proposing to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new single detached dwelling on a different footprint on the same property, and is requesting relief from section 3.397C to reduce the required watercourse setback from 30 meters to 17.76 meters to the southeast corner of the proposed dwelling and 23.57 meters to the southwest corner of the proposed garage. So on the west, you can see the proposed garage, and on the east is the dwelling, with the setbacks highlighted in orange there. And the existing footprint in kind of faint gray lines on the west side of the property. And just a little bit closer view to see the setbacks there, as well as the existing garage and how close the existing deck and garage and house were. And these are some site photos again with a key map in the corner to for reference. And these were all taken when the public notice sign was installed. The property is designated a rural district in the county official plan and is zone limited service residential and floodplain holding in the township zoning bylaw. And in the opinion of the general manager of planning, the proposed variance is consistent with both the intent of the SDNG official plan and the South Glengarry zoning bylaw. Here's a zoning map showing the surrounding zoning being primarily residential with some commercial in red there, and the darker orange brownish color in the middle would be floodplain. The application was circulated to the Conservation Authority, the ERC, who's offered the following comments: that the ERC does not object to the minor variance at this time, does request the following, but they do request the following conditions. That again, if the applicant hasn't already paid for the permit, to pay for that, and to obtain the permit for any future works on the property. The application was also circulated to all abutting property owners within 60 meters and applicable municipal staff, and we've not received any written or verbal comments to date. And the application is being recommended to be approved by our planner, Joanne Haley. So I'll pass it back to you, Chair, again. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments around the table? All right, anything you'd like to add as the applicant?
Nope, let's build.
Councillor McDonnell?
I'll move to approve as presented, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Bougie, so moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Bougie that we approve as it presented. All those in favor? Carried. Again, Mr. Irwin, you can do the caveat.
Thank you. So as you heard a few minutes ago, the amount of variance has been approved. There's going to be a 20-day appeal period, and once that expires, assuming we receive no appeals, we can move forward with any building permits or demolition permits.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for January 13th, 2025. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adjourn? Moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor McDonnell, that we adjourn to the call of the chair at 6:12 p.m. All those in favor? Carried.